Welcome to the Board of Trustees meeting for May 27th, 2015. Today's moment of silence will go to all the veterans, since we just had Veterans Day, a couple days late, but Memorial Day. Just a moment of silence to all the people that have sacrificed their life to remind us freedom is not free, and then we'll do the Pledge of Allegiance. I pledge allegiance to the flag
of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
Motions for consideration, Mr. Luby.
Motion 2015-083, approve the minutes of the regular Board of Trustee meeting held on May 13th, 2015, and dispense with the reading.
I've moved motion 2015-083 to approve the minutes of May 13th.
I second the motion. All those in favor?
Yes.
Yes. Motion passes.
Motion 2015-084, approve the minutes of the special Board of Trustee meeting held on May 18th, 2015, and dispense with the reading.
I move motion 2015-084 to approve the minutes of the special meeting of May 18th.
I second the motion. All those in favor?
Yes.
Motion passes.
Motion 2015-085, approve bills for payment.
I move motion 2015-085 to approve the bills for payment.
Second the motion.
All those in favor?
Yes.
Yes.
Motion passes.
Motion 2015-086, approve the payment of overtime for pay period ending May 12th, 2015.
I move motion 2015-086 to approve the payment of overtime.
Second the motion.
All those in favor?
Yes.
Motion passes.
Motion 2015-087, approve and allow fishing at Clearview Lake and Delhi Park for the Boy Scout Pack 909 with Our Lady of Victory on June 28, 2015. Delhi Parks and Recreation Department for Summer Camp Program on June 30th, 2015 with rainout date of July 31st, 2015. And a Father's Day fishing outing on June 21st, 2015.
I move motion 2015-087 to approve 3 dates for Clearview Lake fishing.
Second that motion.
All those in favor?
Yes.
Motion passes.
Motion 2015-088, accept the voluntary resignation of Andrew S. Hall, part-time firefighter paramedic, FAO, effective June 17, 2015.
I've moved motion 2015-088 to accept the voluntary resignation of Andrew S. Hall.
Second the motion.
All those in favor?
Yes.
Motion passes.
Motion 2015-089, accept the voluntary resignation of Michael J. Heekin, part-time firefighter paramedic, effective June 22, 2015.
I move motion 2015-089 to accept the voluntary resignation of Michael J. Heekin.
Second the motion.
All those in favor?
Yes.
Motion passes.
Motion 2015-090, approve the promotion of Jason P. Krupp to the position of part-time firefighter paramedic at a pay rate of $13.15 in accordance with the Delhi Firefighters Association collective bargaining agreement, effective May 27, 2015.
I move motion 2015-090 approving the promotion of Jason P. Krupp as noted.
Second the motion.
All those in favor?
Yes.
Motion passes.
Motion 2015-091, approve the temporary increase in the number of positions in the staffing and pay rate summary for a total of 2 human resource manager positions from June 10th, 2015 through June 30th, 2015.
I move motion 2015-091 to approve the temporary increase in the number of positions in HR management.
Second the motion.
All those in favor?
Yes.
Motion passes.
Motion 2015-092, approve the hiring of Lisa Durger as human resource manager at a biweekly rate of $2,115.38, effective June 10th, 2015.
I move motion 2015-092 to approve the hiring of Lisa Durger as human resource manager.
Second the motion.
All those in favor?
Yes.
Motion passes. And Mr. Landrum, why don't you tell us a little bit more about Ms. Durger?
Miss Durger. Lisa, there she is. Lisa, you can stand up and just say hi to everybody. All right, Lisa is currently working as a senior human resource analyst for Hamilton County. She has a wealth of knowledge in human resource administration and governmental processes. She has spent the last 9 years employed by Hamilton County in a variety of HR responsibilities, including benefits, budgeting, compensation, employee relations, and workers' compensation. While working in the development division, she also spent many hours instructing employees and supervisors in organization leadership, customer service, and time management. So she's done a lot of management activities. A true West Sider, her and her husband with her children live in Green Township, so she is West Side. Lisa graduated from Taylor High School and earned a bachelor's degree in education from the University of Cincinnati. Lisa also has been honored with the Early Careerist Award by the Cincinnati chapter of the American Society for Public Administration. So Lisa's going to be a great asset to us here. We're very impressed with her abilities and what she's accomplished already, and we welcome her to Delhi Township.
There are no presentations tonight. Trustee correspondence, Trustee Seavey.
Nothing this evening.
Trustee Klug.
Nothing this evening.
I just want to thank the Delhi Veterans Association for their Memorial Day service. It always amazes me how they have perfect weather, but it is a great event. Trustee Seavey and I had a good time there, and we appreciate what you do. I also want to congratulate Lisa. Congratulations. Welcome to Delhi. Report from Fiscal Officer.
No report.
Public hearing. Mr. Luby.
Motion 2015-093, approve the opening of the public hearing concerning construction, repair, or maintenance of sidewalks, curbs, and gutters along various township streets in 2015.
Thank you. This is a public hearing to notify the property owners of the necessary repairs to be made in the right-of-way. Over 165 letters have been mailed out to inform the residents of the public hearing, their estimated costs, and how our sidewalk program works. According to our township sidewalk policy, the homeowner has the option to either repairing it themselves or having it done in connection with our yearly street rehabilitation project. If the township repairs a sidewalk and or apron, you will receive a bill after the project is complete. Final bills will not be due until early 2016. For further information, please call Public Works at 922-8609.
Okay.
That's why, yeah, okay.
Do you want to move it?
We're gonna repeat. The script here didn't have the correct procedure, so we're gonna start again. For motion 2015-093, I move that we approve the opening of the sidewalk hearings.
Second the motion.
All those in favor?
Yes.
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 Motion passes. Go ahead, Ron.
He already did his thing.
Just what Ron said, right?
We received a lot of phone calls, and I think we answered a majority of the questions, but I don't know if anyone showed up tonight to speak or.
Are there any public comments? Anyone want to speak with regard to this public hearing? No? All right, Mr. Luby.
Motion 2015-094, close the public hearing concerning construction, repair, or maintenance of sidewalks, curbs, and gutters along various township streets.
I move motion 2015-094 to close the public hearing.
Second the motion.
All those in favor?
Yes.
Yes. Next, we have reports from departments. We're going to start with Josh Torbeck, our Parks and Recreations Department.
Thank you, trustees. First, good news. We did open the spray ground for this year. It opened officially on Tuesday. Hours of operation, 11 a.m. to 7 p.m., 7 days a week. I just wanted to take a moment to thank a couple organizations that helped us open it up this year with donations. The Delhi Athletic Association, the Kiwanis Club of Delhi Hills, and then I have to apologize to the St. Dominic Athletic Association. They just recently made a donation. They're not on there, but I will make sure that we recognize them. And that's so we're happy to have it open. It'll be open for the summer, so it's already been used a lot. Second event I'd like to talk about is the Father's Day fishing outing. It'll be Sunday, June 21st, 2015. It'll be from 8 in the morning till 4 p.m. be divided into 2 sessions, 8 till noon, noon to 4. We're taking reservations. It's limited to 60 people per session. The reason we're doing that just because of the size of the lake. We want to make sure that, safety first. We're giving enough people to operate, and we're taking everything into consideration. So positions are already filling up. Please call the park office, 451-3300, and we will take your reservations. And lastly, we are extending the deadline for our summer camps to June 12th. We're starting to see those fill up quickly. We are happy to announce that the Cincinnati Zoo just agreed to come to our Venture Days, so that should help with our enrollment, but I would say call quickly, because once the word gets out about the Cincinnati Zoo, I'm pretty sure all of our spots are going to fill up. So we're happy to announce that partnership.
Thank you. Next, we'll go to Mr. Landrum.
All right, coming up, Playing the Pike continues. This is the second engagement of public engagement meetings series that we have had. The kickoff, of course, of what we've said was very successful kickoff for those, and so we're inviting everybody back. June 9th, 10th, and 11th. June 9th is a presentation and workshop, and that'll be held at the lodge from 6 to 8. That kind of is the presentation that sets the pace as far as what the results of the kickoff were, and what work we have ahead of us. June 10th, the public presentation part is to the Board of Trustees that night, and that's an update to the board. But during that day, 9:30 to 3 at the lodge, there's no presentation, there's nothing that you'll hear, but the work team from Stantec, plus myself, Tom Stahlhaber, Catherine Fierick, representing the township, will be working with Stantec on doing the feedback and the design and starting to form the actual plan. Again, like I said, that Wednesday, June 10th, that night will be a presentation by Stantec to the Board of Trustees. Then June 11th, this is kind of the wrap-up of this series here. That night at the Senior Center, we had to do a change of location because the lodge was already booked, but at the Senior Center, we'll have another community presentation and open house. This is where you'll hear the planning team present emerging strategies, so that what we worked on Wednesday, it'll be start coming together, and then will be not only presentation, but there'll be an open house for everybody to go around looking at the different displays and ideas, and of course to continue to provide feedback. So June 9th, 10th, and 11th will be a lot going on those 3 days, and I encourage continued participation. And I thank you for so far what everybody has had really good engagement, and hasn't been a bystander, but they've decided to get in the game in this, and we're really excited about that. So thank you.
Thank you. Next, we'll do the reading of the resolutions. Mr. Luby.
Resolution 2015-066, resolution approving purchase order obligations incurred on behalf of the township by the township administrator, authorizing payment of certain purchase order obligations, and dispensing with the second reading.
I introduce and move the adoption of this resolution.
Second the adoption of the resolution.
Any discussion on this resolution?
I move to dispense with the second reading.
Second the motion to dispense with second reading.
All those in favor of the motion to dispense with the second reading?
Yes.
Yes. Mr. Luby, please call roll.
Mr. Oswald?
Yes.
Mrs. Seavey?
Yes.
Mrs. Klug?
Yes.
Resolution passes.
Resolution 2015-067, resolution budgeting anticipated revenues and amending appropriations for expenses, authorizing transfers from one appropriation item to another, and dispensing with the second reading.
I introduce and move the adoption of this resolution.
Second the adoption of the resolution.
Any discussion on this resolution? Mr. Landrum.
Yes, we have several changes tonight. Part of the first set of changes is to the concession fund. We are contracted with Kona Ice. Of course, everyone would know that. But what we didn't do in January, or actually December, we didn't budget anything for the concession fund. So we've had to go back, and we should have budgeted at least electric, minimal, but for the building. But we had to budget, still we're responsible for the electric and for some basic maintenance or repairs that might need to happen. So we're budgeting that, and we're also budgeting revenues, which we never budgeted revenues. So we're estimating one of the things we do out of the concession fund is the pop machines. So we had to budget revenue from sales of the pop machines, and that's about $1,250 in revenue for sales. And in the other category, which would include the Kona Ice, we don't know exactly what the amount is. We know a fixed amount, but then the 30% of sales after a certain amount, we budgeted $6,000 in revenue. On top of that, then the appropriations between the beverages, buying the pop for the pop machines, building repairs and electric, all that combined equaled about $5,500. So that's the concession fund. At least this time for next year, we'll budget something at the end of this year because we'll have some basis of what to go off of. The next are just purely transfers from one account to another account, so no additional budgets at all. We are moving, it's a little over $20,000 in total with a combination of the human resource manager retirement, all the payouts, and the new human resource manager, the overlap, because we are doing a 3-week training. I think it's vital for that to happen because of payroll and major systems that need to be transitioned over to Lisa. So we have that. That, again, was a transfer from, actually, we were able to use the Board of Election expenses that we did not have to end up paying as much on into various salary and benefit expense line items. We have another miscellaneous line item that we did a transfer from general liability of $6,000, and what that is some other miscellaneous, but which includes we are tax exempt organization, but even when we take possession of a property, we have to file tax exempt paperwork with the state tax commission, and it does take some time. So in the meantime, we have to pay property tax as a resident would pay it. So for the Greenwell property, the first half was like $2,700 that we had to pay. We'll probably have to pay it the second half as well. The park property, if we're still pending on that, we haven't closed on that, but once that comes, we may have to pay the second half of that as well. So this is giving us some flexibility of some of the taxes. Now, I've seen it throughout that it could take a year, it could take 2 years of their state tax commission. I've seen it before the tax exemption comes through. So we're at their mercy, more or less. But for the Greenwell, the paperwork's been filed. It's in the mail. It's filed. The next thing is some transfers in the fire department from various repair accounts into the software and software support, and that is for a Guardian tracking software. Our police department and fire department have teamed up. There's a software that actually anybody could use, but it helps you be able to track employee performance and make your notes. But most of the systems, most of the people that use this system are fire and police, just because you have different supervisors and different shifts, and it's a lot more different than the basic administration 8 to 5. And this kind of system makes employees records and notes of what the employee did, good, bad, whatever, late, early, whatever kind of notations, and it can be used to then print reports later on when it's actually time to do their evaluation. And with us, our focus on implementing mid this year, doing the evaluations mid-year, that was an important system that actually Chief Howarth found, and I think it'll work well with the police and fire. We are getting a good price since they did go in on it together, police and fire, the number of licenses we had to buy. We got it for a real good price. So that was the other transfer, and that was it.
I move to dispense with the second reading.
Second the motion, dispense with second reading.
All those in favor of the motion to dispense with the second reading?
Yes.
Mr. Luby, please call roll.
Mr. Oswald?
Yes.
Mrs. Seavey?
Yes.
Mrs. Klug?
Yes.
Resolution passes.
Resolution 2015-068, resolution declaring necessity and ordering the construction, repair, and maintenance of sidewalks and driveway aprons along various township streets without petition in connection with the Delhi Township Street Rehabilitation and Repair Project 2015-A, establishing tentative assessment estimates against abutting property owners pursuant to revised code 5543.10, and dispensing with the second reading.
I introduce and move the adoption of this resolution.
Second the adoption of the resolution.
Any discussion on this resolution?
I move to dispense with the second reading.
Second the motion to dispense with second reading.
All those in favor of the motion to dispense with the second reading?
Yes.
Yes.
Mr. Luby, please call roll.
Mr. Oswald?
Yes.
Mrs. Seavey?
Yes.
Mrs. Klug?
Yes.
Resolution passes.
Resolution 2015-069, resolution of necessity for Delhi Township Street Rehabilitation and Repair Project 2015-A, and dispensing with the second reading.
I introduce and move the adoption of this resolution.
Second the adoption of the resolution.
Any discussion on this resolution?
I move to dispense with the second reading.
Second the motion to dispense with second reading.
All those in favor of the motion to dispense with the second reading?
Yes.
Mr. Luby, please call roll.
Mr. Oswald?
Yes.
Mrs. Seavey?
Yes.
Mrs. Klug?
Yes.
Resolution passes.
Resolution 2015-070, resolution granting the Our Lady of Victory Church Cub Scout Pack 909 a special exception to the park rules for their annual parent-son overnight campout and flag retirement ceremony, waiving burn permit fee, authorizing the township administrator to issue the special exemption certificate, and dispensing with the second reading.
I introduce and move the adoption of this resolution.
Second the adoption of the resolution.
Any discussion on this resolution?
I move to dispense with the second reading.
Second the motion to dispense with second reading.
All those in favor of the motion to dispense with the second reading?
Yes.
Yes.
Mr. Luby, please call roll.
Mr. Oswald?
Yes.
Mrs. Seavey?
Yes.
Mrs. Klug?
Yes.
Resolution passes.
Resolution 2015-071, resolution authorizing the township administrator to execute a hosted application services agreement with the Guardian Tracking LLC as a personnel management tool for the police and fire departments, and dispensing with the second reading.
I introduce and move the adoption of this resolution.
Second the adoption of the resolution.
Any discussion on this resolution?
I move to dispense with the second reading.
Second the motion to dispense with second reading.
All those in favor of the motion to dispense with the second reading?
Yes.
Yes.
Mr. Luby, please call roll.
Mr. Oswald?
Yes.
Mrs. Seavey?
Yes.
Mrs. Klug?
Yes.
Resolution passes.
Resolution 2015-072, resolution declaring nuisance for excessive vegetation and accumulated debris at 4314 St. Dominic Drive, and dispensing with the second reading.
I introduce and move the adoption of this resolution.
Second the adoption of the
That's not what's
resolution.
on my paper. Oh, here it is. I've got it. Thank you.
Did you second?
I second. Yeah.
Any discussion on this resolution, Mr. Roach?
Thank you, Trustee Oswald. We received a complaint on this vacant property of the vegetation and debris there. We issued orders with no compliance. We inspected the property today. It's still in the same condition. So we're requesting that your board declare this property a nuisance so we can address these violations with our nuisance procedures.
I move to dispense with second reading.
Second the motion to dispense with second reading.
All those in favor of the motion to dispense with the second reading?
Yes.
Mr. Luby, please call roll.
Mr. Oswald?
Yes.
Mrs. Seavey?
Yes.
Mrs. Klug?
Yes.
Resolution passes.
Resolution 2015-073, resolution declaring nuisance for excessive vegetation at 437 Wilkie Drive, and dispensing with the second reading.
I introduce and move the adoption of this resolution.
Second the adoption of the resolution.
Any discussion on this resolution, Mr. Roach?
Thank you, Trustee Oswald. We received a complaint on this vacant property of excessive vegetation. We issued an order letter with no compliance. We inspected the property today and it's in the same condition. So we're requesting your board declare this property a nuisance so we can address this violation with our nuisance procedure.
I move to dispense with second reading.
Second the motion to dispense with second reading.
All those in favor of the motion to dispense with second reading?
Yes.
Yes. Mr. Luby, please call roll.
Mr. Oswald?
Yes.
Mrs. Seavey?
Yes.
Mrs. Klug?
Yes.
Resolution passes.
Resolution 2015-074, resolution declaring nuisance for excessive vegetation and accumulated debris at 5415 Casual Court, and dispensing with the second reading.
I introduce and move the adoption of this resolution.
Second the adoption of the resolution.
Any discussion on this resolution, Mr. Roach?
Thank you, Trustee Oswald. We received a complaint on this property. This is occupied property of the vegetation and debris. We've actually been working with the homeowner, and he's almost there. He just needs a little extra push, I think. So we're requesting that your board declare this property a nuisance so we can address the violations, the remaining violations with our nuisance procedures.
I move to dispense with the second reading.
Second the motion to dispense with second reading.
All those in favor of the motion to dispense with second reading?
Yes.
Mr. Luby, please call roll.
Mr. Oswald?
Yes.
Mrs. Seavey.
Yes.
Mrs. Klug?
Yes.
Resolution passes. Next, we have citizens' comments. We do have one person. Don Osterfeld wants to speak tonight.
Thank you. On behalf of the Delhi Township Veterans Association and being one of the past commanders, I would like to thank Josh and his crew for the way the grounds looked, and also for Joan on planting the flowers. And I would also like to thank Trustee Seavey and Trustee Oswald for being there and saying a few words, and also Mr. Luby. And my apologies go out to Judge John Seavey, because our commander did not know him as I did. So anyway, and John sort of like stays in the back anyway. So thank you for having me.
Thank you. Announcement of community events, Mr. Luby.
In place in reading the community events, I'm just going to direct you to the various places that you can find the community events. You can call the township at 395-3354. You can also, on your computer, you have access to the website and through social media on Facebook and Twitter, and also on the community access channel as well, channel 4.
There's no need for executive session.
There being no further business, I move to adjourn this meeting.
Second the motion.
All those in favor?
Yes.
Yes.
Yes. Next regular scheduled Delhi Township Board of Trustees meeting will be Wednesday, June 10th, 2015. Thank you and have a good night.